Life Pro Tip: if you have illegal drugs in your system and find yourself in the hospital, please be honest and disclose exactly what you've taken or what you believe you've taken. Care providers are not the police. The quality of your outcome might depend on such information.
I can't list the number of times I've asked about drug use, been told no, then they admit recent drug use when I get them on the monitor and their heart rate is in the high 100s. One dude I was called to, unresponsive on a bus. I shook him awake and he just looked at me annoyed. "Did you shoot UO today?" Quote. I asked. He responded matter-of-factly, "I shoot up every day." Now that is honesty, lol. In Australia at least, doctors, nurses and other care providers are legally prohibited from snitching on patients who come in with drugs in their system. They can only go to the police if they have evidence that you have the intent and means to hurt someone, coming in high, or having overdosed, or even telling them that you're a dealer who cooks his own meth. All of that stays between you and them. Same goes for the dentist if you enjoy a glass of meth on the weekend. This reminded me of the case in US a couple years ago, where a criminal being chased by the police, running over a civilian car causing a massive accident. One of the detective working for the police then was trying to take the blood sample of the civilian to prove that he is on drug or something so they won't be blamed for the accident. The nurse refused to do so. She got arrested for obstruction of justice instead. In #X200B, the police department tried to detach themselves from the detective afterward though.
Life Pro Tip: after a bad breakup, do 10 things that your ex would never do with you. You'll feel better and realize how much of yourself was being held back.
When my first wife left me, it was only then that I realized how much of myself I had lost. And I never wanted to feel the way I was when I was with her ever again. On the flip side of this, ask yourself what their 10 things would be, and try and do that with them to strengthen your relationship. Maybe you'll find out you don't actually hate something. The only thing I need to do after a breakup to feel better is to finally burn all those candles we bought that I was never allowed to light. What's the point of a candle if ya don't light it up once in a while? I told my ex, years ago when we were still together, that I wanted to be a beekeeper. She replied, "Nope, I still think about this and I still want to become a beekeeper."
Life Pro Tip: librarians aren't just random people who work at libraries, they are professional researchers there to help you find a place to start researching on any topic.
Give me everything you have on Beyblade. It's a shame we weren't told this in school as children. I also think that I'm not alone in that all the librarians we had throughout school were mean old battle axes. Asking one of them for help was so degrading. LPT. Librarians at your university often know more about finding scholarships than the financial aid office workers. Edit. Clarification: because of so many comments, the librarians know how to perform a search and help you find national scholarships. Financial aid office workers are often only aware of the university-specific scholarships and will have less experience with finding national scholarship applications from a variety of scholarship granting organizations. This is my personal experience. In the U.S., not all people who work at a library are librarians. In order to be a librarian, you need a master's degree. Some libraries have their circulation desk and reference desk together. So if you need reference help, try and locate the reference desk. Most, if not all, librarians will work at the reference desk. This info matters because circulation staff may not be trained for reference help.
Life Pro Tip: if you want to learn a new language, figure out the 100 most frequently used words and start with them. Those words make up about 50% of everyday speech, and should be a very solid basis.
This is really great advice as it helped me master English. The B12 in that have I it for not on with you as you do at this bit. How many words of Me Gusta la Biblioteca are top 100? because for some reason that sentence seemed really important when I was being taught. I think learning the proper conjugations of verbs is also pretty important. But with the basic 100 words and no conjugation skills, you could get your point across. It would be like saying, I was running versus I were running. Not correct, but you can understand it, or fall in love with a native speaker of any country every time you want to learn a new language. Stay about 2 years with each person to be sure that you really got the skill.
Life pro tip. If you need somewhere to work, relax with friendly staff, nice AC, plenty of seating, free Wi-Fi, and available all across the US, you're in luck. There are more public libraries in the US than there are Starbucks or McDonald's. And you're under no obligation to buy anything to sit there.
Most also have small group meeting rooms you can reserve. I read this as if it were an ad for a job. I was like, hell yeah, I want AC and friendly coworkers. I completely missed the relax part. And librarians know so much more than just, where can I find this book? Quote, I had a passport emergency recently, and the State Department's website said the public library near me had some passport processing capabilities. When I called to ask about it, the first person to answer the phone had all of the answers for me. It was awesome. And clean bathrooms and drinking water. They are always quiet havens of rest. Enjoy. Edit. Eye-opener comments. What a tragic thing the USA has become. I am so sorry to hear it, but not that surprised. Really. And I see no solutions to these issues. None.
Life pro tip. If your fire alarm goes off, call your pets and give them a treat. Eventually they will come when the alarm goes off, saving you from wasting time looking for pets during an evacuation.
Dog burnt my house down for treat. So I keep trying this and the fish just sit there. My cat is very afraid of the fire alarm. Luckily, he comes running to me and meows loudly when it goes off. Any advice on how to teach them to find a 9-volt when it starts the low battery chirp?
Life pro tip. Find someone's locked phone, turn it into their carrier. They will locate the owner by serial number. This LPT makes you a bro and returns the phone the fastest way to its owner, who really just wants the photos. Talking to you. Who found my phone in White Mountains, California last weekend.
Just want to give a shout out to our LifeProTips, which is a great name for a sub, but it has way too few subscribers. Y'all need to check it out and smash that subscribe button over there. I found a locked iPhone this weekend. I held the home button and said, Siri, call mom. 10 minutes later, the phone was returned to the owner. As a phone carrier employee, yes, do this. About a year back, this couple came knocking on our door saying GPS showed their phone in our house, accusing us of stealing it, demanding to come inside, and threatening to call the police. Wife and I were like, WTF? Who are you people? Go ahead and call the police so you explain to them that you're trying to force yourself onto our property.
Life pro tip. Keep a separate master resume with all previous work experience. When sending out a resume for application, duplicate the file and remove anything that may be irrelevant to the position. You never know when some past experience might become relevant again, and you don't want to forget about it.
Removed. Use way more bullet points in the master than you'd actually send out. You can shave off full jobs from your CV you're sending out, but also some of the bullet points from a particular job that don't align with the current application. And update your master resume regularly as you take on new projects and accomplishments. You can always use the master for interview prep. I like to do this, but I use my LinkedIn as my spot with all of my work experience. Then I touch up my resume accordingly. LinkedIn can store all the info you can possibly need short of salaries. Better LPT. Don't just copy and paste relevant fields. Use the exact language used in the posting to frame your experience as it gets past job filtering software.
Life pro tip. Greyhound racing is now illegal in Florida after the midterm, which will leave a lot of good dogs in need of homes. If you're considering adopting a dog, please research greyhounds and see if they'd be right for your family.
As a PSA to anybody looking to adopt one, I looked into it years ago, and something important to note is that greyhounds have very thin skin. So if you're planning on taking one somewhere cold, make sure they have a jacket. Also, scrapes can easily break skin. Also, research if you have enough couches in your house, because a greyhound will be occupying one most of the day. A good friend of mine had rescued greyhounds and also fostered a few really great dogs, although many of them have injuries and other medical issues due to the breed and racing. Anecdotally, I went to the park a couple of months ago only to run across a gathering of greyhound owners and their dogs. Super chill. And it took me a while to realize that despite probably 100 dogs in the same vicinity, I hadn't heard a single one bark. If you were wearing blindfolds, you wouldn't have known dogs were even there. Instructions unclear. Now have a 19-ton, 12-wheeled bus that can fit up to 55 passengers.